to my channel. It's the very end of October, so you know what that means. It is time for brand new picture books. My favorite episode all month long. But today I'm bringing you new picture books that were released in the month of October 2023. Now, there are so many amazing picture books coming out every single week, so I couldn't include them all in this video because it would be awfully long. But I think that you should add just a few of these to your classroom library or pick them up to use as read alouds in your classroom, because I know you and your students are going to love quite a few of these. So if you are new here, my name is Sarah, and I hop on this channel every week to share picture books and read aloud tips that you can use in your classroom right away. If that sounds like something you're interested in, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, hit that red subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss a video, because I love sharing how you can use different picture books in your classroom all day long and all year long. Now, let's jump into those brand new picture books from October 2023. First up, we have a book from a favorite author of mine, Vanessa Brantley Newton. This one is called Nesting Dolls. When a young girl feels like she doesn't fit in with her family, her grandmother pulls out a collection of nesting dolls. And she shows how each one of them is unique, but yet they all fit together. She uses this metaphor to talk about how their family, how each one is different, yet they all come together to form their family. A beautifully told and heartfelt story from a wonderful author. A great one to add to your classroom collection. Next up, we have Begin Again by Oliver Jeffers. Now, if you've read any of his books before, they can definitely be very abstract. And so while I think they may be a little trickier for younger students, I do think that they pose great opportunity for discussion and really higher level thinking, especially with older students. And I think that Begin Again does just that. So he starts with the beginning of humankind and details the process up until the present, but then poses the question to his readers: where do we go from here? How can we create new stories? How can we create new systems that allow our humanity to truly flourish? And again, I think these will be really interesting questions to pose for your students, and this book really provides that great jumping off point for discussion with your class. This next book will definitely be for the animal lovers in your class. This one is called Ethan and the Strays, and it's written by John Sullivan. So on the way to school, Ethan notices some stray cats in an alley, but his dad has a pretty strict no animal policy in their house. So with the help of his older brother, Ethan comes up with a way that he can help these animals and learns that taking care of them can bring such great joy. And this book is written based on the author's own experiences and will really encourage your students and help teach them about stray animals and how taking care of others, whether it be animals or people, can bring joy to their own lives. And I didn't mention it at the beginning of the video, but all of the books that I mentioned today will be linked in the description box down below so that you can grab the exact ones that I'm talking about so that you can use them in your classroom. Let's keep going with the books. This next book is the newest addition to one of my favorite series. This book comes from the Big Bright Feelings series by Tom Percival. I've talked about quite a few of these books before on my channel, but this one's called Finn's Little Fibs. And we explore what happens when one little lie turns into a big problem. So Finn loves visiting his grandparents and having fun at their house, but one day when he's there, he accidentally breaks a clock. So Finn does what most children would do. He panics, and so he tells a little fib and blames it on his sister. And when he does this, pop, a little blob appears. And as Finn starts to tell more and more lies, more of these blobs start to appear. They're starting to really make him feel awful and upset and doesn't have fun at his grandparents' house anymore. Can Finn get rid of all of these fibs and tell the truth and eventually have fun at his grandmother's again? Have to read the book with your students to find out. And I highly recommend all of the books in this series because each one of them talks with students about different feelings and emotions, kind of takes these abstract concepts and makes them more concrete for students. For example, in this Finn book, it makes the fib look like a blob. And so these feelings that we're feeling inside, that students might be feeling inside, it makes it more visual for them. So I think this series is really great to have in your classroom so that when students are facing these issues, you can pull them out and help them with it through the picture book. That's where the power of picture books really is amazing in the classroom, because not only does it help students learn about reading and writing, we can use them to help students these important social emotional skills as well. Okay, now on to our next book. Comes from another amazing author, and I believe this is his first picture book. So you may have heard of his middle grade books, but Jason Reynolds is an amazing author, and this one is called There Was a Party for Langston. And the book is exactly what the title says. It goes into a party for Langston Hughes and all of the people that were invited and what the party looked like in this awesome type of rhythmic poetry almost that he uses in the book. Really make your students feel like they are there reading the book, being a part of the party for Langston Hughes. A great one to add to your classroom collection. This next brand new book that was released in October 2023 will be a great one to have on hand for these cold winter months that are coming up very quickly. And speaking of poetry, this next book is a poem written by Neil Gaiman featuring 13 different illustrators as he poses the question, what do you need to be warm? Now, this is a great book to have on hand as these cold months come up, but he talks about what makes you feel warm. Baked potato, the kettle on the stove, a cozy blanket, a smile, the reassurance that you belong. Follow along in his poem as he looks back on his memories and thinks about what it is to be warm and what you need to be warm. And I think, again, this would be a great jumping off point for your students. Pose the question to them. They can write their own stories, their own poems, and draw their own illustrations about what it means to be warm to them. What do they need to be warm? A great poetry book to share with your class, especially during those cold months that are coming up way too soon. Next up, we have a picture book biography from someone that truly brings me back to my own childhood. This one is called I Am Mr. Rogers. It's by Brad Meltzer. And if you've ever read any of his picture book biographies, you know that they are truly engaging for students, but provide so much information about these amazing people in our history. Now, I don't know about you, but I grew up watching Mr. Rogers on TV, and what an inspiring person. And I felt as though he encouraged me to be creative and to share who I was and to be myself. And I think that's a powerful thing to share with your students in talking about who Mr. Rogers was. This book is filled with a timeline and photographs and true facts about who Mr. Rogers was and how he encouraged, especially kids, to make the world a more kind place and encourage them to show more compassion and consideration to others. A great biography to share with your students. The next brand new picture book release from October 2023 is sure to have your students laughing. This one is called Flat Cat by Tara Lazar. After accidentally taking a spin in the dryer, Flat Cat, who usually has a smooth two-dimensional body, puffs up into this fluffy new form. And as you go through the story, you'll be able to discuss with your students what happens when life takes an unexpected turn and how to be flexible and to find their groove again when things change. Not only does it have a great message, but again, we'll definitely have your kids laughing as they read along with Flat Cat. This next book, again, another well-known author, Doreen Cronin, brings us Lawrence and Sophia. This one is a sweet story of friendship between a young boy and a bird who fear the unknown outside of their homes. But when a storm approaches, they both bravely overcome their fears and they leave their comfort zones to ensure that their friends are safe. A good story about overcoming your fears, about friendship, and about helping others. And this last picture book that I have for you today is called Sankofa. And this one's by Eric Ajapong. And it's about a young boy who is dreading the idea of bringing a dish to his class potluck dinner. But then his parents introduced him to their family cookbook. And he starts to learn the traditions of his ancestors. And as he has this appreciation for his family and his roots and where he comes from, he becomes excited to share a special dish with his classmates. Important story about culture and learning about others and sharing who you are and where you come from. So that is my collection of brand new books that were released in October 2023. However, there were so many more, I just couldn't fit them all on this video. But I hope that you'll be able to grab at least one, if not more, for your classroom library. And I'd love for you to tell me in the comments down below which one you are going to pick up first, or the one that you think your students will like the best. And as I mentioned before, all of the books will be linked in the description box so that you can grab them and use them right away in your classroom. If this video was helpful for you, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, hit the red subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss a video. Have a great week.